again, this is kind of called pre-boarding. And as I go back to the examples I used in the very beginning of getting on an airplane, we know that when you pre-board, there's some things you have to do. You stand in line, you maybe get your carry-on luggage ready. Well, again, this is part of that pre-boarding. So again, part of the whole process of that pre-boarding activity is continuing the excitement of the offer until the person actually starts that new hire. Okay. One of the things that we're going to talk about today is assigning a buddy. And when you think about some colleges, when you think about some high schools, some junior highs, they have what's called the O-Team. And in those organizations, this O-Team is a group of people, peers of, say, new students coming in, that act as that informal connection to the organization. And what I'm suggesting as part of the onboarding process, that businesses may want to have a group of employees, and we'll talk about the dynamics of or the profile of a buddy a little bit later. But companies may want to think about having an informal buddy that during this ramp-up process that they kind of assign to a new employee. And in the pre-boarding phase, not only may the supervisor or manager may want to call that new employee, but this buddy may want to call and maybe introduce themselves, welcome them to the organization, let them know that they will be meeting them face-to-face on day one, again, to start to get them where we are really celebrating the fact that our new hires that we have spent a lot of time and resources in getting them to come to the organization, recruiting them, they're finally here. So depending on how many people there are in orientation, there are some organizations that have maybe weekly orientation session where it's a group setting. Some smaller organizations may just have a one-on-one situation, so it's not on a scheduled day every week, but it's just when we have a new hire coming into the organization. So in some organizations, we may want to have a general session where there's a group of people that may meet with the overall manager of that area, maybe the chief operating officer if it's a large corporation, large to medium organization. The president may be there just welcoming, making some opening remarks, maybe perhaps talking about their own employment journey with the organization, especially if it's someone that's been there for quite some time or may have started and worked up the ranks of the organization. A lot of times those stories are quite compelling, and it really gives people a sense that there is opportunity within an organization. So again, depending on if you have a large group or even a group session of new hires, or whether it's a one-on-one, that general session can kind of segue or be appropriate to the number of people in the audience. During that first day, obviously there may be some new hire work. We all know there's paperwork that's involved in all new hires. Some of it, hopefully, they have gotten beforehand. They may have completed a lot of it. That first day may require somebody to just review it or verify it, or even if it's been turned in before they actually get there, somebody's going to just validate that it has been done and that everything's been taken care of. This might be an opportunity to tour the facility with a buddy. Now, previously, somebody coming in may have, as an applicant, may have toured the facility, but it probably wasn't as complete a tour as now as an employee. And with their assigned buddy, the person could show them where the lunchroom is, kind of where some informal gatherings may be. You know, talk about where people typically park, you know, where are the restrooms, where are the copy machines, things on an informal basis, maybe if there's a break room, something like that, maybe something that a buddy can share with the new hire. In some companies, we know they serve lunch to new hires. This is obviously not a requirement, but for some companies it's just a nice to do and part of the process. In a group setting, it allows new employees to maybe meet other new employees so people don't feel like they're the only one that day. In a small company, maybe where you just have a single new hire, This may give the opportunity for that buddy and maybe the new manager, the new supervisor, to take that new employee to lunch. And if the organization does have a lunchroom, it might be a nice thing to have lunch in the cafeteria to get that new hire oriented to, you know, how does the cafeteria work, where do you get your tray, where do you sit, all those kind of things, which can make somebody feel much more comfortable. I've heard of instances where new hires have just come in and they're given a time to go to lunch and they go to the cafeteria. And in some organizations, they're quite large and it's really daunting. So again, having that buddy or having somebody to shadow them through that first day can be very reassuring in that they're finding their way. Obviously, on the first day, they're going to meet with the supervisor, all new hires, and hopefully spend quite a bit of time nurturing that relationship, maybe giving them some assignments, kind of introduce them to workforce there, anything to help them kind of start to, again, get acclimated to the new organization. Shauna, can we turn it? Next slide. They're ongoing. During the first week, we may want to think about a supervisor meeting where employees get more information about the department, the company, maybe start to address the training process, maybe start to communicate expectations, talk about tools, talk about resources, maybe talk about other opportunities within the organization. Obviously, you don't want to get them wanting to post out of your new position too soon. But for those people that do express an interest in growing with the organization, it's nice in that very first week to kind of paint a career path for that new hire. Obviously, continuing to meet with that buddy can be a really good chance to, again, continue to nurture that informal process, that informal culture, so that that employee, again, begins to feel like one of them, one of us, instead of feeling like an outsider. The first month, the supervisor and the buddy may continue to want to follow up. There may be questions and checks for progress in the new role. You know, how is the person doing? This will give a good time for the supervisor to review the work, provide any additional training so that we feel like the employee, again, is on the right path, that we want to make them feel valuable. We want to make them continually feel that they have made the right choice. And although it's an employer's market now where there are lots of people out there looking for jobs, again, we spend a lot of time kind of selecting that one person that we feel is right for any particular role. So we want to make sure that they feel that they did make the right choice and this is a good place to stay. We know eventually the economy is going to turn and that at some point there's going to be more positions out there than employees. And at that point, we hope that the job that we have done in getting those new employees onboarded and oriented to our organization is going to pay off, so that when there are other opportunities opening up on the outside, that our employees will feel like they have made the right choice and they are going to retain with our organization because they do feel continually valued, not only during that first day, not only during that first week, not only during that first month, but ongoing.